Hi everybody, Josh Wolski with the Minot Voice, standing behind the camera here. I'm out at the Minot Area Development Corporation with Steph Hoffart, the Executive Director of MADC. And Steph, you guys have a project coming forward here to City Council on Monday. The company is called Skyscopes. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Skyscopes is a provider of UAS industry. They provide ethical processing of data, so they collect the data for the end users. They use drones to do that. They do energy audits, they do efficiency audits, looking at the oil and gas industry, being able to monitor pipelines and security for tanks and those kind of things, leaking, all those kind of items. They are able to do wind towers, utility lines, to be able to audit those things to make sure that they are working as well as they should be, and also make sure that they are, if there is any maintenance needed, they can catch it before it becomes a disaster.
Gotcha. So these guys are they're kind of a technology company in the young aviation drone industry. They were in town a couple months ago for a news release. I think for those of us who were paying attention, we probably expected there was going to be a Magic Fund request at some point in time. Can you tell us a little bit about the specifics of the request and what you're going to be asking from the Magic Fund and what you're taking to City Council?
Okay. Our application for Skyscopes is $375,000, and that's for assets, so it's for actual, one of the largest drones that they will be handling, and it will be specifically used out of the Minot office. It's a robot aviation drone that is made in Poland, but by a Norwegian company. It'll be the first one in the United States to have been sold here. As well as the cameras and LiDAR systems, payload piece of it, in order for them to be able to be effective in the Bakken when they are doing energy audits and efficiency audits for oil companies or utility companies.
Gotcha. So the Magic Fund dollars that are being requested are kind of capital purchases to a certain degree, but equipment, high tech equipment, things like that.
That's true. Yes. And they have a life of about 3 years, so that is why we are attaching to the development agreement that if those assets will be purchased by the Magic Fund, but if for some reason Skyscopes does not fulfill the benchmarks, those assets would be tangible so that they could be given back to the city, and the city could sell them or give them to another company that could use them. And that there's a 3-year benchmark opportunity within that time frame, because the useful life of one of those could be longer than that, but potentially, as technology moves so quickly, a lot of things just don't it depreciates within 3 years. So.
Gotcha. You've touched on it a little bit there with a bit of a segue, but my last question here is, the Magic Fund's been around for the last maybe 26, 27 years. Not always a history of great results. Certainly some very good success stories along the way, but not all of them have been perfect. And maybe it's a cultural phenomena or something, but we all seem to remember the ones that didn't work quite as well as the other ones. What have you done a little differently on this project? Have you made some changes to the process that MADC uses to bring these things forward? What's changing out here? What's evolving so that we can be confident these projects are going to end up the way we want them to?
There's always risk in any type of venture like this. I mean, this is a new industry for Minot, but I want the citizens and the community to know that we're not just handing money over to a company for working capital or to purchase a building that they could sell later on to somebody else. I mean, that's not the intentions of the Magic Fund, and it never was in the beginning. But I do know in the early 90s, obviously, Minot was a decreasing population. I went to Minot State, graduated in 1992, and I know trying to find a job here in Minot was very difficult. Most kids got their degrees and got the heck out of the state because there weren't any jobs for the youth. And so when you look now at the technologies and the advancements in North Dakota alone, I mean, we're just we just want to make sure that we are good stewards of the money, and we also want to make sure that, you know, we do a little bit of verification on things. You know, in this industry, there are a lot of companies that are trying to be Skyscopes or be just like Skyscopes. And when this all shakes out and when FAA gets their regulations in place, they're not all going to make it. There's no way you can have that many new startups be successful. But within that, I know that it's important for me and for my board of directors have identified we want to be, we want to make sure we verify and understand what the business is, and also understand the risk that's involved, so that we are putting benchmarks out there that aren't just handing money to people, you know, to start their business here. We want to be able to make them accountable as well. So if they aren't accountable, you know, the assets will revert back to the city. So we're trying to make sure, you know, we have to give, I shouldn't say we have to give, but we are aware that other communities in North Dakota do give incentives. So we want to be competitive, and obviously we can't ignore there are risks in taking these types of jobs, and looking at new business. You know, they're a very early stage entrepreneurial business. So, you know, 2-year business that's actually, you know, probably not flush with money right now. So, you know, whether we get the Magic Fund request fulfilled or not, I know Skyscopes is coming to Minot. This just helps them be able to start sooner. And they're going to be able to operate year-round, but their prime season for the types of work they can do are summer and fall. And if we miss that opportunity, there might be some other business that could take. So the reason we are looking for this Magic Fund request is to see the bigger picture in this industry. Last year in May, when I met Skyscopes, we were down in New Orleans with the Department of Commerce. So there was a booth for Department of Commerce. They allowed any municipality, any economic development in the state to partner. So for $1,000, I was able to go along. And I didn't know much about the UAS industry, and I know Grand Forks is probably chosen to be, you know, the prime spot, at least in the military world, and we get that. But there are so many other applications commercially that can be done, and, you know, I realized that I didn't have to be an expert in drones. I needed to be an expert about our community, about the quality of life, and about why business should come here. What is good about living in Minot, North Dakota, and our proximity to the Bakken and the different commodities that are grown in our area. So, you know, we sought out visiting with Skyscopes and understanding what their model was, and to see where they've gone in such a short amount of time, and also being able to be ethical and efficient. And FAA regulations have allowed them to move forward on some things that other companies have not yet to do that. And that truly is because of the open skies and the friendliness of North Dakota. So we are just capturing a piece of that here in Minot, and we look forward to more companies coming along the way in this industry. So Skyscopes is just the beginning of our Magic Sky initiative, which we hope to include, you know, maybe manufacturing drones here, and also looking at the data that they collect. We need people to analyze that data, and, you know, hopefully we can partnership with higher education at Minot State University and be able to have some computer tech jobs and some maintenance jobs for these drones, so that we can see the full circle of this industry, not just the collection of the data, but being able to have a little piece of all of it.
Okay. You've touched on it a little bit, but there are some benchmarks for Skyscopes in the next few years if this money is approved. Just in closing, what type of jobs specifically are they feel like they're going to be able to create here in the next few years?
Okay. Probably the one that's the most obvious to everybody is pilots. So they do require them to be full pilots in order to run their drones. But also when you look at business development and you look at marketing, I know that they are in conversations with Minot State right now, is also having some interns in that arena. But also looking at the analytical process of the data. So, you know, they will have someone who manages their headquarters here. They will have some pilots. They will have some business development team, probably a marketing person at some point. And I see down the road them being able to hire students also. So they'll give people an opportunity to see what it's like to do these things, maybe keep the interest of the students and actually be able to churn out students from Minot State that would be able to fit into this business like UND has for pilots. You know, we're not going to be able to have a pilot school, but we can, through Minot Public Schools, look at the aviation program. Not everybody is meant to have a 4-year degree. And so the tech part of this is important for the whole state. And I think Minot can, you know, grab onto that and try to be a part of that.
Okay. We've been chatting with Steph Hoffart, the president of Minot Area Development Corporation. Thanks for your time, Steph. If the rest of you are interested in seeing how this conversation unfolds, full city council is on Monday night, and the issue will be considered. Thanks.
Thank you.